And now let's dissect the key scene in society, and that is the shunting. So, let's talk about the shunt. How would you describe what happens next, Vicky?
Someone is fisted to death.
The room turns red to begin with. Well, let's talk about the inspiration. It was inspired by a movie Brian Usner saw when he was a kid called Dr. X, which had synthetic flesh in it. A guy smears what he calls neo-flesh all over himself, and it gave little Usner nightmares about bodies melding together. And then, as we said earlier, Salvador Dali was also an inspiration. Autumn Cannibals has the essence of shunting, and Premonition of Civil War has the transformation and structure of shunting, those two Dali paintings. And actually, if you look at them, there are serious parallels between what you're seeing on screen and what Salvador Dali created. So yeah, everyone kind of starts congealing. And you had a dozen technicians in there, apparently, underneath the human actors, operating the puppet centerpiece, and they were stuck under all those grunts and groans, getting covered in gel and champagne for 3 days. So as bad as it looks for the extras in this scene, I feel sorry for the people underneath.
Yeah, right.
I like how matter of fact it is when it's like, we're going to begin, and the parents and Jenny just sort of take their clothes off and stand there. And I like the fact they still put on nice underwear, despite the fact they're going to mould into each other's bodies. Still got very nice negligee.
Well, once they've stripped off, they strip Blanchard and the victim, and they lick and nibble on him. They start sticking their fingers into his skin, and then they become attached to him until they are one pulsing ball of flesh. I called it posh porridge earlier. Toff soup, elite oatmeal, blue blood sludge. Do any of those work?
Yeah, all of them for different reasons.
Yeah.
Tim Bartell plays Blanchard.
He does a very good job.
He says that when he finished reading the script, he drove straight to his agent to discuss. And he said, I'm a little uncomfortable with this, but the agent convinced him it would be good for his career.
Was it?
He did okay.
Yeah.
He's very proud of it. Or was he, Vicky? Was he proud? Am I allowed to say that? He says he played it as intense as he could. And he said he actually struggled after 2 days of being in that situation. He said he found himself tearing up because it was so intense. He said, I wasn't acting. It was so disturbing. And that performance, Usner actually didn't use a lot of it because he said it was too upsetting. Yeah. So he scaled back what that actor was doing.
I mean, I will say the line that Judge Carter has where he's between Blanchard's, or what was left of Blanchard's legs, and he goes, and now we'll get to the bottom of this.
And now we'll get to the bottom.
The line and the glee on Judge Carter's face just before he does
it.
it.
It is very chilling. I didn't find it as scary. The body melding wasn't as scary to me as the hysteria. Like, that's the bit that was scary. And I think it's a good scene. But it's the redness and the people are unhinged and uncontrollable. And I think the director did an amazing job of like directing that big scene. There's a lot of people, a lot going on. But what's terrifying is like the mania. Like the thrill of the hunt and all of that. But the body melding stuff didn't scare me as much as I thought it was going to. I was like disgusted by it. But we talked about this last week when we did The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And you, Chris, were talking about Curtis Hanson and women that he knew in his life, saying that feeling when you're on that table of what's about to happen. And invariably in those exams, at some point, someone is going to stick their hand up you. And you have to prepare yourself. And when you said it's the feeling of irritation and powerlessness and all of that. So those feelings, I felt those feelings. And to me, it was like more of a male fear of penetration and envelopment than I necessarily have because I've had to go through certain unpleasant things. So I was scared, but not by what was actually going on from my own perspective.
Well, I think there are homoerotic undertones to this film.
Yeah.
And also it plays on those fears because Billy is this sort of outsider who doesn't feel like he's included within his own family, and he finds himself attracted to women, but frequently sees them as grotesque. I think there's a
Yeah.
war going on inside himself a little bit. He might be questioning his own sexuality. And then this, I think, is dealing with fear of anal penetration in the shunting. And he's frightened of it at first, but then later on, he embraces the shunt and the fist actually empowers him. So I think there's quite a lot going on another level here.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, it's, shunt is a real medical term as well.
What?
Yeah, in medicine, a shunt is a hole or small passage which moves or allows movement of fluid from one part of the body to another.
Okay.
Does that make you feel any better or worse about the shunting?
I won't lie, I'm so turned on right now.
You're the fucking worst.
Is no one else? I mean, the last 10 minutes have been the horniest podcast we've ever done together. This is unreal. I've just had to go quiet because I'm dealing with a lot.
Concentrated.
Is that your final word on the shunt?
I might take my top off.
Why start with the top?
And so, post shunt, Clarissa frees Billy because she loves him, apparently. The therapist, his head turns into a hand. We get a scene in the bedroom, Billy's parents' bedroom, where the mum has the dad's arms for legs.
Yeah, but this is the scene that scared me the most because of the incest. Not all the shunting and the body horror and whatever I found repulsive in a good, entertaining way. But, I texted you and I said, it didn't scare me as much as I thought it was going to. And because incest is so abhorrent and we are very much conditioned and intrinsically know its abhorrent nature, I thought he was going to show us that, and I was really scared because I didn't want to see it.
No, sure.
There is something quite weird as well, that they want to do incest more than they want to be at their own party in their house. The fact that the three of them go off together, they're like, shall we just, while everyone's busy,
nip off, yeah.
busy with their Blanchard, shall we just go up to the bedroom and just the three of us get it on? And it's sort of like, wow, even within this depraved little society, you three are seemingly more depraved that you just want to get it on with each other than join in with the shunting.
Yeah, and I thought we were going to see it, and I was so nervous.
But in defense of these scenes, I don't think they're supposed to scare. I think this is supposed to shock and disgust.
Yeah.
I don't think you're supposed to be frightened in these. I think maybe you're a bit scared for Blanchard because obviously it's a pretty grim reality he's living. But again, Yuzna's very upset with he loves the work that Screaming Mad George did on the shunt itself, but he really felt like, clearly these effects don't really work with the mum standing on the arms for legs.
Oh, I thought they did. I thought they were really good. I think Butthead's a bit stupid. Butthead looks silly. Well, it turns out I am a butthead.
I am a butthead.
But the arms for legs worked for me.
Yeah, well, as you say, there's wacky music as the dad's face appears between his own butt cheeks. The sister's head, you dashed over that, comes out of the mum's privates. And she says, if you have any Oedipal fantasies you'd like to indulge in, Billy, now's the time.
If you have any edible fantasies you'd like to indulge in, Billy, now's the time.
But again, the sound mix isn't very good. I actually had to put the subtitles on to hear what she was saying.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And Yuzna says that as well. He says, I'm not particularly clear what she's saying. It doesn't work, that scene. He's beaten himself up a bit about this film as well, actually, when he's watching it. The judge, they go back down and said, the judge is on the floor and looks like a pizza now, is what I've said. Someone eats Blanchard's eyeball.
Yeah.
But they're returning to human form now. The judge has now taken on Blanchard's beauty mark, which I think is really funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also one of the more disturbing aspects, like it really hammers home this idea that Blanchard's just been absorbed into these people.
It's clever. It's clever. And then Ted and Bill have a brawl. Ted seems to know kung fu. He absolutely batters Bill.
You did miss out Ted's marvelous line from earlier, where he explains what's going on with the immortal words: "The rich have always sucked off lower class shit like you."
And then he licks him. And actually, that plays into this homoerotic. The undertones here, because in this scene, he then they kiss each other, and it's quite a long kiss.
Told you, Whitney. We don't lose. Ever.
Until Bill grabs Ted's hand and shunts Ted, literally pulls his insides out, and he succeeded.
Yeah, let's not forget that there was a little bit of a setup for the film's entire payoff before we get to it, which is the Judge Carter says to Ted earlier, I think we may have an opening as an intern in Washington for you this summer, which plays into the very last line after Ted has been turned inside out, where the judge goes, looks like the opening is still there in Washington, which seems like he doesn't really care that Ted's dead.
No, and I think also he doesn't really care. I think more importantly, he doesn't care that Bill is escaping and has kind of defeated them, and that Clarissa's running away with him, and the other friend Milo is running away. They're completely unchallenged here, and it's because society doesn't care. These people pose no threat to them. They could run and tell anyone what's just happened. No one will believe them, and they'll be squashed. So I think that being the final line, I think it's sort of telling us that, yeah, this is not a victory for
Interesting.
Bill and Clarissa.
Yeah, that makes sense. Why is Ted full of worms? Is there an explanation, or is that just another little...
He wishes, he talks about this now, he wishes that it was eels he was full of. He thinks the worms aren't very exciting. They're too small.
Oh my God, that would work so well. Did you see A Cure for Wellness?
No.
Oh, that's a good film.
That's a good film, yeah.
That's a good